When was the last time you just bought a video game? No, I don't mean simply buying a video game. That's one thing the advent of the modern era has improved upon greatly. I'm not talking about accessibility. I'm talking about buying a video game and that being it. Not having to worry about any of the litany of problems that comes with the video games nowadays. I remember those days. Let's talk about it, shall we? I wasn't kidding about my prior statement, by the way. I truly cannot remember when I just bought my last video game without worrying about the ever-expanding and constantly growing problems this over-bloated, greed-filled industry has shifted to. In fact, do you remember yourself? When was the last time you bought a video game with no day one DLC, on the disc DLC, microtransactions, macrotransactions, additional transactions that made you pay for features that have always been standard in video games, a finished product that was still effectively early access, a live service that these companies promised to support for 10 plus years, or a remaster or remake of an old classic to relive a nostalgia of a better time in video gaming? Nowadays, at least, when it comes to the mainstream market, that concept is so foreign that I unironically feel like soon, when we tell the new age of gamers that cosmetics used to not only be a fun additional unlockable piece of content, but used to change up the game that didn't require extra money, we will be told, okay boomer, go back to bed now. Like we're the crazy ones. It's kinda sad, but soon, the next generations of games will be a rarity to not include these things rather than the commonplace thing, and that actively depresses me. Whatever happened to just getting to enjoy a medium, getting an experience, having a story told to you and that being it? The same place all things go once enough money gets involved. Death by greed. Money, like always, it is the biggest contributing factor in all of this degradation. Once any industry gets big enough, the investors start rolling in, and once those are making their way, the passion that makes up the industry, not just video games, gets shoved out for the sake of making the most profit possible. For any long-time goers of the channel, you have likely heard me say so much of this before, and it really can't be overstated. Games aren't made by gamers anymore. The people running these ships aren't gamers. They're suits, fat cats, investors. Seriously, look at how many of these massive company CEOs come from places utterly outside of the video game industry. And while I won't shit on their ability to make money, that's all they know how to do. Make money. It's become focus testing, following trends, resting on laurels. It's why so few new IPs spring forth nowadays. Most companies would rather take safe bets than experiment, and it shows. In fact, would you like to know how many releases from EA this year so far we've had that aren't just another year release of the same sports game as last year? As of writing the script, 2. Literally only 2. It Takes Two and Knockout City. Everything else, remasters, remake, same rehashed yearly releases, all in an effort to make you pay for the literal exact same thing as last year and rebuy the exact same characters. Oh, and here's a hot take. FIFA, Madden, NBA, every sports game nowadays doesn't need a year release. They could legit sell you one copy at the start of a console generation and then just upgrade the roster and mechanics each year. But why would they do that? Gotta make people spend $60 to $70 for the base game and then spend $500 plus just to get a single character again, am I right? Sometimes you don't give me a character. I want even a single person to defend or give a legit reason why these games need to release yearly and not just update. I'll wait. We're getting slightly off topic, so let's rein it back. I think the main contributing factor on why video games have changed so much is because of the people running the companies. I've said it multiple times, I've even said it in this video, but it truly can't be overstated. Gamers don't make video games anymore. Suits do. I would say the devs are likely still gamers in their own right, but the people okaying the decisions of what gets made or not don't. There's a clear split between making games by passion and games made by profit. I think there's no better example than the FF14 WoW exodus going on right now. While I don't want to shit entirely on Blizzard, too easy especially right now, no company shows a more perfect showcase of exactly said tonal shift from gamers to suits. Do you think the Blizzard of old would have allowed any of this to go on? Would have allowed one of their most well-received franchises to be remastered into one of the worst games of all time? To let one of their franchises be shifted from one spectrum of games and consoles to another? To let greed blind them so much they straight up lie about inclusions to a video game? Jeff Kaplan has left Overwatch, Ben Brode has left Hearthstone. And is there even a single dev who worked on WoW at its peak that still resides at Blizzard? Because it doesn't feel like there are. Feel free to call me out on that though. But so many of them have left, and while they won't say directly why out of fear of getting blackballed out of the industry, I'm willing to bet it's because of the break between creating something and profiting off something. These suits don't want long-term gains and investments. They want short-term success and money immediately, and even then, if only it's going to bring back multi-billions. Recent reports have shown that's why Warcraft 3 reports turned out the way it did. The suits at the top didn't see the profit on it, so heavily cut down on the team as well as their budget. This mindset leads to games purposely being made worse on purpose to entice you to stay and play longer as well. It's why loot boxes are the way to go when providing out cosmetics. Between the way the system manipulates you, it's there to not give you exactly what you want, so you had to keep right on grinding or spend money. Think about it. What is really stopping them from letting you buy exactly what you want at a one-per-one basis? Actually nothing. But no, they can't do that. If they don't keep some kind of carrot on the stick, you'll just leave because fixing and improving a product is hard work. You know what's easy? Creating a pretty skin. It's why games are constantly pushed to being live services, because making a single game and updating it to have concurrent spending models pays more than creating a single player experience, all while having to do less work simply updating as opposed to making a new sequel or new IP. Why do you think everyone made a MOBA in the early 2010s? Why everyone made a battle royale in the late 2010s? Why multiple card games were made? Trend chasing. Clearly that's what's popular, so let's just create our own and rush it out, because who cares about quality control and reading the market? All I see is green. It's why video games have pushed towards more mobile ventures. Whether or not you want to admit it, the mobile market is massive. Not just massive, but legitimately larger than the console and PC market, and the suits running the show smell that money and run headfirst towards it, even at the detriment of their own companies. Why do you think so many games have loot boxes, season passes, different kinds of currencies? Why games have log-on bonuses and the same UIs and marketing tricks and cash shops? Because the popularity of the mobile market and just how much it makes, games are being made to mimic them as best as possible, which is all done in the chase of the source of all evil, money. So what can we do about the state of video games? Nothing. The AAA video game industry is doomed. It's a diseased tree whose roots are so embedded that it's only going to start spreading its plague into other games and other mediums. There will be a sapling in the form of good games that grow into its own thing here and there, but as a whole, rotten to the core. We have the indie industry, where a lot of the most disgruntled video games devs go to continue making games out of passion, and every once in a while, a gamer will be allowed to make a game unobstructed. But honestly, things are just going to keep getting worse, and it's our fault. We said it was only cosmetic and didn't matter when horse armor got added as something to buy. We said that on the disc and day one DLC was okay. We allow games to keep being released unfinished and buy them anyway with the promise they'll finish them later. We keep buying the same rehashed content year after year. Why would video games have any reason to get better when, as much as some of us bitch, more just people buy the game anyway? Gotta consume the product, right? I'm so passionate about this subject because the channel states, I just love video games. And seeing video games actively be made worse hurts, especially since I've been there since the near beginning. I've seen the rise and fall of so many titans and pillars of gaming and can only shake my head as the downward spiral continues. For me, the direction video games are heading is like seeing that dear friend you had in your youth. You know the one. We all had that one who always had a new thing to show you. Not all of them were great, but each of them were special in their own right, and they were always happy to show them to you. They didn't do it to show off, but to get you just as excited to be enjoyed as they were to be happy that they made it. But as you grew up, you went down different paths. Maybe you couldn't visit the friend anymore because of some event in life where your interests stopped being aligned with them, but you always held that special place in your heart for the old times. You try to meet back up with them, and they have changed. They started doing drugs, gambling, abusing the people around them, pushing their vices onto others, and they don't really want to really meet you for you anymore. They meet with you to see what you can pay them, what you can do for them. What you can do for them is more important than sharing an experience. And I think that more than anything is what hurts the most. It really does. Alright, so you know what's happening here. Another after the video, just general thoughts. So, things happening in the video game industry. I'll be starting my next LP literally later today. I guess it'll probably be releasing tonight. And it's for a game that I've waited. Let me check something. When did The World Ends With You come out? Holy shit, it came out in 2007. My god, I'm old. But yeah, so a game I've waited 14 years for. Hopefully this won't be like Space Jam where I've waited all this time and it's just garbage. So that's nice. Funnily enough, I actually made a lot of this things about paralleling Activision Blizzard to just like the degradation of the video game industry. I actively made this well before, like a good like week or so before the lawsuit, and then it just happened to coincide. So yeah, that's a thing. I don't know how to say my next statement without sounding like an asshole, but I'm not surprised per se. Like I'm not happy that it's happening. I'm not like a piece of shit who's like okay with what they're doing there. Obviously, women shouldn't just be treated like that. That's actually fucking disrespectful, and those people need to be fired. Like how Bungie fired theirs, and there's no excuse that they're still hired. But it's now just kind of commonplace where it's like, all right, which of these companies is next? Oh, it's that one right now. Okay, so it was Riot, then Ubisoft, then Bungie, then but now it's this one. Okay, I'm not even surprised. Again, I'm not saying that it should be okay. I'm just saying that I'm not really surprised that another company is doing another one of these scandals. And here's the fucked up thing: nothing's gonna change. It's really not. As much as people want to sit here and bitch about what's happening, nothing is gonna happen. I know I'm being an asshole by saying that, but it's true. Literally 2 years ago, not China, Activision Blizzard literally hard bent the knee and started sucking the cock of the Chinese Communist Party. As we saw with them banning Blitzchung, nothing came of that. And then we saw the panning of another player who was defending it, nothing came of that. Warcraft 3 Reforged, nothing came of that. Overwatch 2, nothing's coming of that. People are gonna keep buying and consuming the product. Literally nothing's gonna change. They're doing their whole boilerplate apology right now. They got some corporate mouthpiece of a woman who's like over here saying, "Oh, well, I didn't. It's not affecting me, so it clearly isn't as bad as people are talking about." But you know how it is with these companies. They do some kind of apology. They say, "Oh, we sorry." It's literally that BP meme from South Park where the guy from BP is over here saying, "Sorry, we're sorry, sorry." And that's then nothing changes in the end. It's just the exact same thing over and over because not enough people are willing to stand up for the rights of others. So it's just gonna keep going. I'm sorry, but it's just a cold hard truth. God, this is depressing. I need to do more happy videos. I'll try to think of something more happy to talk about as my next major video. Hopefully though, this game is good. Either way, I want everyone out there to have a good morning, evening, day, or night, wherever you're at. But for right now, I'm out. Later.